who were not selected. Our first video features Robin Ignatowski of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Robin nominated her mother, Patricia Julius, because of the sensitivity she shows to others, even as she deals with her own medical issues.
I'd like to nominate my mom for FAM's Best Mom Award. Not for the things that people think most of the time when they think of the word mom, but for the things that she does for others. She has an outlook that is impressive under duress. Having been diagnosed with cancer, she is still very upbeat all the time, still looks out for other people instead. For example, we went to the doctors and the tech came in to just check on her, and she always looks for the positive in people, something small even. And in this case, she commented on how lovely this tech's hands were, and doesn't leave it as just great hands, but no, how it impacts on what she's doing and the difference that that makes for other people. For instance, she said that her hands were lovely and that they showed such strength and at the same time gentleness. The next day, I happened to see this tech when she came to pick up one of my patients, and she commented that she had never ever thought of her hands one way or another, much less on how they impacted on other people and her patients, and how it made such a difference and was going to from that day forward for all of her patients. So I think my mom should be nominated and receive Best Mom Award. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the story of Larry and Kathy Coker comes to us from Daphne Shute of Gulf Coast Jewish Family and Community Services. Daphne explains how their caring spirit made their family stronger in the midst of grief. Well, this is where Bill Gates needs to give us a huge bunch of money. You know, I mean, they call it PowerPoint. Well, right now it feels kind of powerless, don't you? This might take several minutes, so while we're here, I think it would be great to kind of explain the value of cooperation between nonprofit agencies, because it comes from the heart and not because there's any financial advantage really in working together, except in grants where you're put together in kind of a shotgun marriage, and we know what happens in shotgun marriages and all of that. For the Family really thrives on the collaboration that we've been able to establish. And we have one foot in the faith-based community and another foot in the secular community. For instance, and this is how I met Reverend Davis, as well as Paul Rabine, through our involvement in Pastors on Patrol, which is a group of churches numbering over 100, predominantly in Hillsborough County. It focuses on trying to improve the lot of not just the entire community, but its most vulnerable citizens. Pastors on Patrol is a wonderful organization. I'm actually the only lay officer, and that's because I go to meetings and take notes, so they make me the secretary. Well, there you go. In any case, it's the kind of thing that exemplifies the idea of collaboration. And one of the agencies that you'll hear about today, the Sylvia Thomas Center, is one that we're very pleased to have encountered and to set the stage for collaboration with, because they care so much for the welfare and well-being of adoptive parents. And of course, we have parental mentoring services. Therefore, it's a situation where we each make the other stronger. And it's that kind of collaboration that defines what should exist on an even greater scale in Hillsborough County. The Children's Board does its bit by funding a variety of agencies and encouraging collaboration. But it's a situation where the more collaboration we have as a community and between individuals, the better the collaboration that will exist between agencies. And having said that, it's time to see if Bill Gates has gotten it together yet. Yes. Yes, he has. Well, there you go. All right, here, without further ado, is Daphne explaining how the caring spirit of Larry and Kathy Coker made their family stronger in the midst of grief.
Hello, my name is Daphne Shute, and I am the case manager at Gulf Coast Jewish Family and Community Services. I am nominating Larry and Kathy Coker for the Family Award. After the unforeseen death of their daughter, they took on the unexpected role of being the primary caretakers of their grandchildren. Despite not having the financial means, they still openly welcomed their grandchildren into their household. The family was introduced to case management less than a week after the passing of their daughter, and I can remember the first time meeting them and being impressed with their resilience as to making sure that their grandchildren's needs were still priority, despite the mourning the loss of their daughter. I am nominating Larry and Kathy Coker because not only are they selfless, but they continue to show the community what it means to make sacrifices to ensure that our children feel loved after the loss of a parent. They are the true epitome of what this award embodies. Thank you for taking the time to consider this family.
Are Mr. and Mrs. Coker here today? Well, that's a doggone shame, you know, because we were going to ask some questions, which is probably why they didn't come, because they thought, well, we're such good parents, why do we have to answer questions? Well, trust me, the more we know about the heroic people that are being featured in today's National Family Awards ceremony, the more encouraging we will all feel as we go forth and try to act on the kindness that we're seeing firsthand today. Well, our next video comes courtesy of Crystal Valerie and her sister in spirit, Godlin Prophet. And I tell you what, this could be an MTV video, it really could. As Crystal and Godlin had this to say about Parent of the Year nominee, Tyron Walker. This is where the magic clicker comes in real handy. And here's what they had to say.
Hey, I'm Godlin. I'm Crystal. And we are daughters of Tyron Walker. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now you're probably thinking, we don't look alike. That doesn't matter when it's your foster dad. Foster dad! So we think he should be nominated because he's the best guy, and him and his wife, Michelle Walker, have serviced over 900 kids through human sex trafficking and the foster care system, and I think he just needs to be nominated.
He just does, because he is great. Like, he is phenomenal. Like, he was always there for me. He was there for my graduation. He came all the way down to Spain just to see my graduation. And I was great.
He's basically amazing, what she's trying to say. So please help us get him nominated because he's absolutely amazing, and he just needs a little recognition.
Yeah. Just get him known. Get his name out there. So, Tyron Walker.
They don't know this, but one benefit of today's show is that we have hired a blimp that has, you know, like they have the lights on the side of the blimp, right? So, Mr. Walker, your name will be in lights. It will be over Raymond James Stadium for the next Buccaneer home game. The movie offers will follow. And in all seriousness, I would be honored if Miss Valerie and Mr. Walker could join us over there so that we may ask them a few questions and you can just find out the tremendous qualities that actually they both have. Yes, Crystal, you have them too. So, Crystal, let me start with you. First of all, what motivated you to not only nominate Tyron Walker, but to do so in such an imaginative and entertaining way?
Well, it was kind of a last minute thing. Miracles Outreach kind of gets recognized in like a group thing, and I know you didn't know about this. He doesn't really like surprises, but
Surprise!
me and Goblin thought it would be a good idea to just nominate him because he is like a big part of the program, but never is that person that's like gets seen for everything that he does. So to me, I've met him in 2006 after my dad passed away. I was placed in the foster care system. Him and his wife took me in. I was rescued from human sex trafficking, and he played a big part as just being my father figure, giving me that tough love, which she couldn't do because she just loves me too much. So he just thought like it'd be a good opportunity without him knowing, because if he did know, then he would probably never be here. To just
We couldn't have that.
right, to just recognize him for what he does, because not only has he been a parent to me, I'm 26, he met me when I was 16, he's been a parent to hundreds of people, hundreds of kids, and just doesn't really get recognized for the work he does.
So, Mr. Walker, what motivated you to not only take Crystal into your home, but to spread your love? And as I understand it, you have 4 group homes. And are you franchising? Is this like McDonald's? No. Seriously though, how did the feeling well up in you to do so much good for so many people?
Truthfully, it was a call. When God spoke, we listened, and God told my wife and I to, in 1990.